As students of New Thought and people who are attempting to practice these universal principles that we teach here, we want to be a little wary of the tendency to expect ourselves to transcend everything in the physical world. I'm calling my talk today Close Encounters because we do have close encounters of the physical kind, don't we? You know, back in the day, in ErnestHolmes' day and, 100 years ago, practitioners and people in this teaching would hide things. If they got sick or if they had a problem, they never talked about it, never mentioned it. And they had a reason for that. They felt they didn't want to solidify it. But I think nowadays we realize our power is a little more personal and that sometimes we just have to experience the experience, right? Because we're always whole, we're always perfect, we're always intact at the soul level, and it always reasserts itself, right? So we live in the third dimension of things and experience, and we deal with the perception of time and space. We share this planet with a dizzying variety of forms, and sometimes they bump into us. I had a little experience recently I'm going to share with you. Oh, it's about a week ago. I went out to get the mail and I locked myself out of the condo. Now, my housemate was taking a nap in his bedroom. We're on the ground floor. So I rang the bell. I figured, well, he'll hear me. Well, he didn't. Turns out he only hears it on his phone and he had turned his phone off. So after I rang it about 6 times, I thought, I bet I could knock on his window and that'll wake him up. And so I went over there and realized, it's just covered with foliage and there's a little green wire fence I'd have to climb over. So I started plowing around and seeing if I could get over, and I wasn't able to do it. And just when I thought, I think I'll throw a rock in his window like kids used to do to get their girlfriend or boyfriend's attention. And he came out. He had heard me. So he let me back in. Now, here's the point of my story. Not 10 minutes after I came in the condo, my arms erupted into red welts. Both, and they're still there, but they're faded. This was over a week ago. The next day, they were on my legs. I looked like I had some dreaded disease from the tropics. I got a few here and a few there. So I started, I put honey on them, I put turmeric on them, I put ginger on them, I put cortisone on them, I put non-itch cream on them, calamine, everything I could think of. And one night I woke up in the middle of the night itching so bad I thought I was going to kill myself. Just horrible, right? And then they started to fade. Well, in the meantime, I sent Reverend Kate a picture of the plant because I figured it has to do something with that plant. I've never been allergic to anything in my life. So she used to be a farmer, she knows about plants. So she got back to me and she said, that's a lantana and it's known to give people hives if they're sensitive to it. I went, well, what do you know? I'm sensitive. And then I, of course, as a good New Thought person, I said, gee, have I been at odds with the environment a little bit lately? Maybe a little bit. I watch the news maybe too often. Yeah. There's always an inner cause. But the point is, we don't always have to get to it right then, but rather just attend to what we're doing and allow it to run its course. As long as we keep affirming, I'm whole, I'm perfect, my body is strong, it is aware, it knows what it's doing. All right. So things happen that seem to come to us rather than through us. Have you ever had that experience? And it's very easy to attribute cause outside of ourselves, but it's in those times that we have to stick to the spiritual principle. And I'll tell you another story that really illustrates this in a beautiful way. This is a true story. A friend of mine named Bob, years ago when I was in ministerial training, he told this story in class. His entire life, he had been afraid of birds and he didn't know why. He figured something happened to him when he was a baby. Maybe a bird flew into the carriage or something. He didn't know why, but he was deathly afraid of birds. He went on a trip to Costa Rica, and in the jungle, he was in this beautiful resort in the jungle, and there was a path walking through the foliage. And so he went on a walk one day, and he said, I noticed that there were feet behind me. And he said, so I sped up and they sped up, and I stopped and they stopped. And he said, so I slowly turned around to see who was following me, and I came face to face with the biggest bird I have ever seen. This face was right here. And I said, Bob, what did you think? He said, I thought, that which I feared the most has come upon me. And that's exactly true. That's exactly true. So it's easy to succumb to the sense of being the victim of circumstance. But experience doesn't make us a victim unless we succumb to the tendency to think so. And that's the great temptation. You know, in the parable of Adam and Eve, I could do a whole talk about those guys, but in the parable of Adam and Eve, Adam succumbed to that temptation. He blamed everything on Eve. She got them kicked out of paradise. She was the temptress who must be controlled. Don't get me started, because that's still happening. Joseph Campbell said, some people got stuck in the metaphor, right? And they're literally using it as an excuse for horrible behavior. Anyway, we cannot always attribute cause to anything other than the outer world. But if we want to be the master of our fate, we can't allow our mind to go there and take up residence. A minister of long ago, Dr. Tom Costa, some of you may remember Tom. He liked to play with words. He once said, when you're going through hell, keep moving. Don't buy a condo there. When you're going through something, keep moving on your spiritual truth. My housemate, who is 84 years old, swims at the Y 3 times a week. And he told me about this guy he sees. This man, he talked to him, he's 88 years old. He's really bent over. He only has the use of one arm. He swims 3 times a week, 2 miles in 2 hours. I couldn't do that. 3 times a week, this old guy is swimming 2 miles in 2 hours. To me, he's a living example of mind over body. His will is in charge. He's willing himself to do it, not his age, not his physical limitations. None of those things are in charge of his experience. He is. Great example. And to me, this is a classic example of be in the world, but not of it. I use this a lot because it is a profound piece of advice. It is a profound teaching to be in the world, but not of it. This man lives with apparent limitations, but he doesn't allow them to be the cause of his experience. You know, when the master teacher Jesus gave that advice, I doubt many in the crowd understood it. I mean, can't you just see him? Be in the world, but not of it. Huh? What did he say? What did he say? Be in the world, but not of it. What? People probably couldn't hear that. It's so deep to be in the world, but not of it. But it is great spiritual advice. And it is a part of this teaching. It does not mean we retreat into a hermit-like existence. You don't have to go to the Himalayas and sit in a cave for the rest of your life, or even never come out of your house or stay in meditation all day long. That isn't what this means. It means to be in the world, but not get mired in the illusion, not get mired in the experience. Stay on top of it. Stay in charge of it. It means to participate in the world of things. And if we break it down, included in be in the world, but not of it, is do not defend your limitations. Have you ever heard yourself doing that? I can't because, oh no, you don't understand. We will list our limitations and we will defend them passionately. You ask someone what the problem is, and they're going to jump up and down and tell you passionately what it is. You won't believe what happened to me. I think, I use this as an example a lot because it's true. I've done it myself. Defend your limitations. But that does not make the situation better. It makes it worse or more real than it actually is. So we need to get in front of it. My friend Angela Taggart, who's a minister up in Eureka, she wrote something the other day that I thought was quite worth quoting. She said, "We are not here to wrestle life into shape, but to calm it down with a kind of inner peace." So in other words, we have close encounters with things, with other people, with all kinds of situations. And our job as metaphysicians isn't to wrestle it and to shape the way we want it. It's to infuse it with a sense of peace, a sense of calm, a sense of, I see through this appearance. I know there's a greater good happening here. I know there's something underneath this, and I'm going to find out what it is. So we're never fooled by the appearance. That's another great piece of advice from the master teacher. Judge righteously. Do not judge by appearances. And to judge righteously means to see through it to what is actually there trying to happen. There's always some good trying to happen. That's just the way life is. So, like I said, if you ask most people what their problem is, they're going to really jump up and down and tell you what it is. But ask them what they would like instead in their life, and they are stuck for an answer. Most of us have very low energy when, I'm not talking about any of you, you're all way beyond this, but whoever's out there, listen. People say, what would you really like? Well, I don't know, I guess healthier? And when we should be saying, I claim my vitality. I know my body is a manifestation of God's consciousness and it is whole, complete, and on the move right now, regardless of appearances. That's what we have to do. It's easy to be excited about the limitation and very blasé about the healing or about the possibility that's inherent in it. Any close encounter we have, there's a possibility inherent in it for some kind of awakening in us. Just like my experience with that bush. I had to say, what am I being so sensitive about? I've never been allergic to anything. I've been walking this planet for 84 years, for heaven's sakes, and nothing's ever bothered me before. Well, why am I so bothered now? Well, I could name it. And I had to do something about that, right? Let it pass. It's experience on the move. Something good is trying to happen, even when it looks like only bad is trying to happen. Good is always trying to happen. That's the nature of the universe. Always trying to happen. So we need some enthusiasm for our desires. You know, to be filled with enthusiasm means to be filled with God, to be filled with spirit, enthused with the spirit. Nothing moves until enthusiasm moves it. I thought of a bumper sticker. I made this up. I'm pretty proud of it. Lukewarm, never cooked a dinner. Hokey pokey. If our energy is on the problem, we might as well put the down payment on the condo because we're going to be living there for a while. If our energy is on the limitation, we're taking up permanent residence. So just a few days ago, last week, my housemate and I had to release Tessa the cat back to the universe. She was 17 years old, and he had had her since she was a baby. I've only known her for 6 months. But she was a sassy cat. She didn't like women. She only liked him. And if I tried to pet her, she was, you know how cats are. And cats are the perfect example of being in the world, but not of it. Have you noticed that? Yeah. So there were tears, of course, but no blame. This is the way of life. This is the way of experience. It's all temporary. It all moves. It all becomes something. And beings appear. We appear and we individualize this expression, and then we exit the body. I love Benjamin Franklin. I used to use this at memorial services. He said, life is like a big party on a cruise, and that it's going on when you arrive, and it'll be going on when you leave. There'll be different people and different musicians and different dancers, but the party will continue. And that's kind of a really healthy way to look at things. And also, it's a way to really deepen our enjoyment of being in the world, to know it's temporary. Our children, however they are right now, it's temporary, and they're precious, however they are right now. And when we start resisting the environment, we're actually denying it its full possibility. We are. And when I look at the news and I know that I am denying the possibility that's inherent in whatever's going on right now. So cats are in the world but not of it, and dogs, on the other hand, are of the world. Very present, very needy, and wonderful reflections of us. So can we be lively participants in life and at the same time see through it all? Yes, we can. Can we trust the natural processes we all experience, the close encounters we all have, yet master our way of living through them? Science of Mind is not about detaching from the world, but using our power to stay in charge of how we experience the world. So in conclusion, my rash is fading. The kitty is released. Reverend Kate is well. The tears have stopped, and life goes on. And so it is.